I said earlier, I mean, we know everything they're trying to run.
How do you guys know everything they're trying to run? Because of her right here with her hand on her damn face. That's how y'all know everything they're trying to run, because she damn me cheated. She came in, she was a spy, and she leaked everything. She cheated. That's how y'all know. You wouldn't know shit if it wasn't for DeWanna Bonner.
Okay, this is wild. The WNBA just handed us one of the most cringeworthy displays of veteran entitlement we've seen in years. Seriously, this so-called experienced player who thought she could just bully Caitlin Clark. Yeah, she finally exposed herself for exactly what she is, a totally jealous, bitter, has-been.
I gotta admit, the end of the Fever Mercury game made me sit up for a second, because it got a little spicy with Caitlin Clark having an interaction with DeWanna Bonner out on the middle of the floor, sort of waving her back to the bench. I mean, the rest of the game was following a familiar script where the Fever fall behind and they fight back and they show the grit, but they lose to a team that has more talent than them at this point in time. But that interaction stood out to me for a couple of reasons. I mean, number one, obviously, is the history there, where DeWanna Bonner was on the Fever for a cup of coffee and then winds up on the Mercury. Before the season, Caitlin Clark said she wanted to win a ring for her.
And get this is the story of a player who literally threw away her shot at true greatness all because she couldn't handle being part of something bigger than herself. What's even crazier, she then crawled back, only to try and intimidate the very superstar who's actually saving women's basketball from people exactly like her.
Pissed off, man. I'm pissed off. This is trash, bruh. DeWanna Bonner, who you think you is? Who you think you is trying to walk up on Caitlin Clark like that? Who you think you are? You ain't nothing but a scammer, a quitter, and a traitor. You got me twisted. I don't know who you think you are walking up on the GOAT talking crazy. You was just acting like a mentor to her when we brought you in. Us fans never even wanted your clone.
So, when DeWanna Bonner signed with the Indiana Fever back in February, she probably thought she was just walking into another easy gig. You know, collect some paychecks, coast through another totally mediocre season. But what she actually found was a team completely transformed by Caitlin Clark. Suddenly, it was the most watched, most competitive, and honestly the most scrutinized environment in the entire WNBA. Talk about a rude awakening.
But Caitlin Clark's obviously saying something to the referee, and DeWanna Bonner is saying challenge or something, because it wasn't being challenged. Basically, I'm guessing DeWanna Bonner is saying basically if it's not a foul, challenge the call. And eventually Caitlin Clark midway
The writing was totally on the wall from day one, but Bonner, she was way too blinded by her own ego to even notice. She started the first 3 games of the season, putting up a pathetic 7.1 points and shooting an absolutely embarrassing percentage from the field. Let me be clear, that's not veteran leadership. That's veteran regression at its finest, plain and simple.
We got DeWanna Bonner, who was complete trash. She was a complete bum while she was wearing the Indiana Fever jersey. This lady was shooting threes, hitting the side of the backboard. She was trash while she was at Indiana Fever. We had to pull strings and pull teeth to help her break a record. We had to do all types of stuff to help her break the record. And you got the nerve to try to talk crazy to Caitlin Clark? Who the hell you think you is? DeWanna Bonner? Wasn't nobody watching your games? Nobody even knew who you was. Nobody even knew you.
So what did Coach Stephanie White do about this mess? She made the totally obvious call any competent coach would make. She benched Bonner. She put in players who actually wanted to contribute to winning basketball. And how did our veteran leader respond to this completely reasonable coaching decision? Oh, like a spoiled child who just had her favorite toy ripped right out of her hands.
19 points for DB. Comes to the squad, leaves disrespectfully, and the last 2 times we've seen her, she's been rubbing our nose in it. Yes, I left you. What are you gonna do about it? Not a damn thing, because your head coach is soft and weak and not a real coach. Your head coach quit on the Connecticut Sun, so I'm quitting on her. Sorry.
Instead of accepting that challenge, working harder, and proving she deserved her spot back, Bonner decided to take her ball and go home. She requested a trade, claiming the fit didn't work out, but let's be real, that's just basketball code for I can't handle not being the absolute center of attention. But here's where it gets really pathetic. Bonner didn't just quietly ask for a trade, she completely abandoned her team. For 5 straight games, she stopped showing up, citing personal reasons, leaving her teammates totally hanging while she pouted about her reduced role. Personal reasons? Please. The only personal reason here is that her feelings got hurt because she finally realized she might not be good enough to start on a championship contender.
I don't even care about you not playing in Indiana no more. It's just like the way you did this shit, man. You sat out, stopped coming to work, walked out of your $200K contract, all of this shit, stayed at home wherever the fuck you were because you weren't scissoring enough with Alyssa Thomas, man. And then to sit up here and grant her wish to go and scissor with her lover on another team, this would never happen in the NBA. This is why I have such a hard time respecting this women's basketball shit to the full degree, because no other league around the world in sports does shit like this happen.
Look, this isn't just about basketball ability anymore, this is completely about character, and DeWanna Bonner's character was exposed as paper thin the moment she faced real adversity. She signed up to be a veteran leader for a young team, but the second that team started getting the kind of attention and pressure that comes with having a generational superstar, she folded like a cheap suit. She just couldn't handle being on such a viral team, a team that absolutely loves Caitlin Clark, because deep down, she desperately wanted to be the star herself. The jealousy is so obvious, it's honestly embarrassing to watch. Here's a player who spent her entire career in relative obscurity, and suddenly she's thrust into the brightest spotlight in women's basketball.
DeWanna Bonner, you're a sore loser. You're obviously not a competitor. You were brought in as a vet and expected your tenure to be able to save your starting spot, even though you haven't been able to deliver, because you're not the same DeWanna Bonner you were fucking 5-6 years ago. You want to have a stank ass nasty attitude because the girls around you are better than you, younger than you, and are playing better? Take your piss poor attitude on. The Indiana Fever locker room doesn't need that. You're not owed a spot in the WNBA on a roster because of your tenure. You're not owed a spot on the roster because you're one of the vets that laid the foundation. Veterans always want to talk about how they want to protect the league and how they want to set the league up and how they want to take care of it and leave it better for the next generation. Putting the best players on the floor is what...
Instead of embracing the incredible opportunity to be part of something truly special, she resented it. She resented that 17,274 fans weren't there to see her. They were there to see Caitlin Clark. She resented that every single game was sold out, not because of her veteran presence, but because of a 22-year-old rookie who'd already accomplished more for women's basketball than Bonner ever will. But hold up. Let's talk about what happened on September 2nd, 2025, when Bonner finally showed her true colors for the entire world to see. The Phoenix Mercury were hosting the Indiana Fever in what should have been just another regular season game. Bonner was actually putting up some decent numbers, 19 points, her best performance in months, and she thought this gave her the right to start talking trash to the very player who made her team relevant in the first place.
Yeah, you're coming for the wrong one, ma'am. You need to be worried about those rusty knees of yours with that WD-40. You hear me? You need WD-40 in them knees. You're old, you was complaining about running up and down, running a fast-paced office because you said it makes you tired. Okay, you almost 40. If you don't want to play up to your best and be great, I think you need to go find another team. You hear me? And clearly you did. You snaked your way out of the possibilities of
So, during a timeout in the third quarter after a foul call the Fever totally disagreed with, Bonner decided to walk right over to the Indiana bench and start running her mouth. She was signaling for a replay, acting like she was some kind of authority figure. But then, Caitlin Clark, who wasn't even playing because of an injury, had enough of her disrespectful behavior, and what happened next? Oh, it was beautiful to watch. Clark, dressed in black sweats and sitting on the bench with a groin injury, got up and told Bonner exactly where she could go. It's not a foul. Clark yelled repeatedly, telling Bonner that, while waving her back to the Mercury bench. The audacity of Bonner thinking she could intimidate Caitlin Clark is absolutely mind-blowing. This is a 37-year-old veteran who literally quit on the same team just months ago, now trying to act tough because she finally had one decent game. The same player who couldn't handle the pressure of being on a championship contender is now trying to bully the superstar who brought that pressure in the first place.
One of the only entertaining parts about this game, though, was when a timeout was called, and then DeWanna Bonner and Caitlin Clark had some words. It was right after a foul was called, and I believe it actually was a foul. Either way, Caitlin Clark went out there defending her teammates, shooing off DeWanna Bonner when DeWanna Bonner was finger twirling.
Then you see Caitlin Clark to the right behind the coach coming out and jawing at DeWanna Bonner. DeWanna Bonner says, yeah, it was a foul. And Clark is saying, no foul. Yes, it was a foul.
But again, props to Kelsey Mitchell for coming away with 29 points, not letting this.
But Clark wasn't having any of it. She sassily waved Bonner away, basically telling her to get back to her side of the court and mind her own business. That gesture, it was perfect, dismissive, confident, and completely justified. Bonner literally had to be escorted back to her own bench by her teammates, looking absolutely foolish in the process. And here's the thing that makes this whole situation even more pathetic. Bonner thinks just because she's a more experienced player, she can scream at Caitlin and get away with it. No chance. Experience doesn't give you the right to be disrespectful, especially when your experience includes abandoning your team when things got tough. The fans are absolutely fed up, demanding the WNBA take action. But let's be honest about what really happened. Bonner was only feeling brave because Caitlin Clark wasn't actually playing. The Mercury won 85-79, and Bonner thinks this one victory gives her the right to mock the player who would have led the Fever to victory if she had been healthy.
Clark, yeah, man, Caitlin Clark told her, beat it, bum. Beat it. Beat it. You trash. You a quitter. And you a thief. You stole money from the Indiana Fever. You a thief in the night, DeWanna Bonner. You got some nerve trying to talk crazy to Caitlin Clark. She the only reason half the people even know you. Nobody knew you throughout your career. Wasn't nobody watching your games. I ain't never seen nobody in a DeWanna Bonner show. Nobody knew you.
Everyone knows that if Clark had actually been playing, this game would have gone completely differently. The Fever have been struggling without their superstar, dropping to 21-20, falling to 8th place in the standings. But here's the kicker. When Clark is healthy and on the court, this team is a completely different beast. They're competitive, they're exciting, and they're everything Bonner could never be. Bonner is incredibly lucky that Clark was injured, because if that rookie sensation had been on the court, Bonner would have been reminded once again why she wasn't good enough to stay in Indiana in the first place. Instead, she gets to act tough against a depleted Fever team while their best player sits on the bench. The contrast between these two players couldn't be more stark. On one side, you have DeWanna Bonner, a bitter veteran, who quit on her team when things got challenging, who can't handle not being the center of attention, and who now tries to compensate for her own failures by bullying the very player who exposed her limitations.
Bonner won on this. Caitlin can't talk from the bench. When you quit on a team like DeWanna Bonner did, anyone can talk. Anyone can talk no matter what. When you quit like DeWanna Bonner did, everyone has the right to talk. I mean that. Everyone has the right to talk when you quit like DeWanna Bonner did on the Fever. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone has the right to talk. You don't just quit on a team on a personal level. It isn't basketball. Doing what DeWanna Bonner did and not even texting the team when she did it, that's not.
The fans, though, they see right through Bonner's act. They remember how she abandoned Indiana after just 9 games, claiming the fit didn't work out when everyone knows she just couldn't handle the pressure. They remember how she disappeared for 5 games with mysterious personal reasons while still collecting paychecks. They remember how she forced her way out of town because she was absolutely jealous of Caitlin Clark's success. And now she has the nerve to come back and try to intimidate Clark, the same player who made the WNBA relevant for the first time in decades. The same player who fills every arena, breaks television records, and has brought millions of new fans to women's basketball. The level of delusion is staggering. Bonner actually thinks that because she managed to score 19 points in one game, her best performance in months, she suddenly has the right to talk down to a superstar. Meanwhile, Bonner has earned nothing but contempt through her selfish behavior and unprofessional conduct.
She felt like she couldn't fit with the rotations of the team. She's upset that Lexi Hall took her spot. That's the truth. Little blonde girl from next door took her spot. That's what it was. Well, Lexi Hall is a good basketball player. I think she earned that spot, in my opinion, and she's shooting very well from three. She's an excellent three-point shooter this season. She's a sniper this season. And she hustles, she gets rebounds, she gets steals. She puts her heart out.
The fact that Clark stood up to Bonner even while sitting on the bench with an injury just shows the monumental difference in character between these two players. Even hurt, even unable to play, Clark flat out refuses to be intimidated by a washed-up veteran who thinks she can bully her way to relevance. This entire situation reveals the toxic culture that still exists in parts of the WNBA, veterans who would rather tear down rising stars than celebrate the success they bring to the league. Bonner represents everything that's wrong with this old guard mentality, while Clark represents everything that's right about the future of women's basketball. The fans are making their voices heard, and they want consequences for Bonner's behavior. They're tired of watching talented veterans waste their remaining years on petty jealousy instead of contributing to the growth of the sport. They want the WNBA to send a clear message that this kind of unprofessional conduct won't be tolerated. Seriously, from the moment she realized she wasn't going to be the center of attention in Indiana, Bonner has been looking for ways to undermine the success of the very team and player who gave her an opportunity to be part of something special.
But this version of DeWanna Bonner was not the version of DeWanna Bonner that was on the Indiana Fever. And, you know, kind of like sucks to see because she essentially did quit on the team with a lot of people excited that she was on the team. Like, I remember Kelsey Mitchell saying, I have the best vet in the world in DeWanna Bonner. I remember Caitlin Clark saying, I really want to win a chip for DeWanna Bonner, knowing that she's in, like, you know, the moonlight of her career. So it does feel like there are a lot of personal feelings when going up against Bonner, when going up against.
But Clark's response, it was perfect, confident, dismissive, and completely justified. She showed Bonner exactly what real leadership looks like, even from the bench. While Bonner was busy trying to create drama and controversy, Clark was focused on supporting her team and standing up for what's right. The message is clear. DeWanna Bonner's days of getting away with unprofessional behavior are absolutely numbered. The fans see right through her act. The media is calling her out, and even injured superstars like Caitlin Clark refuse to be intimidated by her bitter veteran nonsense. The time has come for the WNBA to decide what kind of league it truly wants to be. Does it want to protect bitter veterans who abandon their teams and create unnecessary drama? Or does it want to support the superstars who are actually making the sport better for everyone? The choice should be obvious, and so should the consequences for DeWanna Bonner's unacceptable behavior.